everybody, it's Carrie with Seed to Spoon. I'm out here in our back garden area that we actually just got ready to plant for the fall. Well, us and the goats, we both did work. So we just got it all ready to go. We brought over some smart pots and we are gonna get started planting. And I thought I would talk about one of my very favorite things that I'm gonna be planting today. So Swiss chard was actually something I disliked before I started gardening. So I feel like if you bought it at the store, it tastes really gross, right? Like, I don't know, I never enjoyed it, I never liked it. And then we started planting it here and I realized just how good it actually was. I think it just tastes so much better when you grow it yourself and you know when to harvest it. Swiss chard is actually one of those things that whenever you do harvest it, if you harvest it when it's cool out, it makes it taste way better. So that is one of the main reasons I love planting Swiss chard in the fall, because whenever you go to harvest it, the weather's gonna be cool, which will make the Swiss chard taste even better. My absolute favorite variety is Bright Lights. I love this variety because it is so beautiful. It has like red, pink, orange, yellow, like all of those different color stalks, and it just tastes so beautiful. You can even just use this as an ornamental, even if you don't want to eat it. But I would definitely recommend eating it as well as having it as an ornamental. So one of my favorite ways to use Swiss chard is actually by using it as a replacement wrap whenever I make a wrap in the kitchen. So whenever you let the leaves get big enough, you can pull them and just put whatever you want on the inside and wrap it up and eat it. It is so good. I'll see if I can find a picture and I'll post it up here because it is just amazing and it tastes so good. I mean, besides that, you can use it just like any other green, just how you would use lettuce, spinach, kale, all of that. Swiss chard is also super nutrient filled. It is so good for you to eat. It has a bunch of antioxidants, which I mean, it's really good to help keep you from getting sick because it has a lot of vitamin C. It's a really good weight loss food. I mean, there's so many different health benefits to it. If you haven't checked out our app, make sure you check that out because it'll tell you exactly what health benefits Swiss chard is good for whenever you select it up on the top. So you can scroll through and see all of the different ones. There are a lot of them. So Swiss chard can be done in transplants or with seeds. I'm gonna do seeds today just because I couldn't find any transplants at our local nursery when I went yesterday, but because I kind of wanted to get a head start on them, but that's fine. I'm gonna go ahead and get started by seeds and I will continue to look for transplants because I feel like you can never have too many Swiss chards laying around. So I'm gonna plant the seeds today in this 7-gallon smart pot. See if I can kind of angle it down so you can see the smart pot that I'm using. I'm using this one right here. So get me back in the camera. But this is the smart pot that we are gonna be using today. And I went ahead and got it all ready. I use this knife all the time. It is amazing. We got this one off of Amazon. So I just went through and I cleaned out this soil. I got rid of all the plant roots and everything that would have caused problems whenever I went to plant. So whenever I do go to plant, I use this seeding square right here. And then in the app, it will show you exactly how many per square foot that you can do when you're planting. And this is actually, Swiss chard is one that is 4 per square. So I'm gonna go through and plant one in every blue hole right here. Okay, so now I'm just gonna move this and I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna push these down just a little bit. I'm gonna do it about 1/2 inch or so and then cover them back up. And then now I'm gonna come back in and get it some water.
Hey babe, I brought you some fertilizer. Here you go.
Thank you.
Are you planting anything here yet?
Yep.
What's in there?
Swiss chard.
You already planted the seeds?
Mm-hmm.
Can I put a fish under it?
Sure.
Okay. Ow! Fish poked me. Okay. Where else do you need me to put some fish for you?
Anywhere I'm going to be planting later. Any empty smart pots.
Yeah.
Okay, so Dale just added some fertilizer for me into this smart pot. So he actually just got back from the lake and was catching some food and some fertilizer. So fish, it works really good for boosting the nitrogen in the soil. So if you have fish laying around, it's really good to add, but you can also buy fish fertilizer as well. It is really good for the garden. We use fish fertilizer all the time if we don't have fish laying around. Okay, so back to the planting. So I put a couple more seeds on top just because it looked like he might have moved them around a little bit. And I was like, I just want to make sure that this works really, really well because I'm so excited for my kale, or not kale, my Swiss chard, because I love Swiss chard. So I put a few more seeds on top just to make sure that they are good and only a half of an inch up. Okay, so now that I have it planted, I wrote Swiss chard on my little label right here. I get these popsicle sticks just at your local hobby store, and I write what it is on here that I plant and pop it in there. Now I'm good to go. So now after I water it, I'm just gonna make sure that I come through every day just to make sure that this is staying moist until the seeds start to sprout. The seeds should be sprouting within about a week or so. Sometimes it takes about 10 days or so, but once the seeds come up, you can start to back down a little bit on the watering. So Swiss chard does best in the full sun, but it will definitely tolerate some shade. If you only have shady areas, it's just fine. It'll just take it a little bit longer to grow and to give you like bigger leaves, but it will work just fine if you only have shaded areas as well. So the great thing about growing in the fall, you will have harvest pretty fast. So with Swiss chard right here, you should have harvest within, maybe even a month, maybe 2 months, depending on the size of the leaves that you want whenever you go to harvest it. Some people like the smaller leaves and you get those faster, obviously. If you're going for more doing wraps and things like that, it'll take a little bit longer to grow those. So Swiss chard will tolerate a little bit of frost, but it won't tolerate much. So it usually, once it starts to get dangers of hitting like under in the 20s at all, then it's probably not going to be making it past that. Okay, so I'm gonna go get the hose and I'm gonna get this watered in. I'm very excited for it to start giving me some Swiss chard. I can't wait. If you haven't already, check out our free app from Seed to Spoon. It's in the iOS and Android store. It'll walk you through everything there is to know about growing food, all the way from seed to spoon. But check it out and it'll help you. It'll give you exact planting dates as to when you should be planting these plants in your area. It'll pull frost dates from your nearest weather station and it'll give you exact dates as to when you should be planting. So check it out if you haven't already, and thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.